Hello, developers. Let's start developing. Last time I kind of messed up on the first day of Advent of Code 2023, but as I've seen in the meantime, basically everybody did the same mistake I did, so I'm not feeling bad. In the meantime, I figured out what the problem is and actually confirmed it online, so it makes sense. So, what is the issue? What is happening here? Basically, we have texts like this and this when we have 1, 2 at the end. The problem is what happens when we have something like this thing. What I will do, what this code that I've written so far will do with this text, it will try to find matches starting from the front. So it will find this thing and it will replace this code with this text with this text. So if you look at the front, the first number you get to is 1, but if you look at the back, the first number that you get is also 1. So for this for this text, I will generate 1, 1. And that is incorrect because if we read the description, it's actually quite explicit, but we need to pay a lot of attention. The last digit as defined, the last digit to form a single two-digit number. We need to find the last digit, and which means that if we try to look at the last digit of this is not a digit, this is not a digit, but this is a digit. So the correct transformation of this should be 1/8, not 1/1. And this is where we get the error. So I was thinking how to do that, and basically the problem is that we're getting an input and then finding the first and the last part simultaneously. So now I will do a more complicated thing, and I will actually say I will have a method that will get the first digit, and it will take in a string, and I'll add a second parameter. It will take a map, which will be a record of string to number, which will describe what a digit is. So if we find the string, then we replace it with this number. And we definitely don't want to do this. This will just match for actual digits. So, but we will generate all the substrings starting from the start. So will be terribly inefficient, but we only have something like 1000 strings. So it will be the difference between a few milliseconds and a few nanoseconds. For now, it's not a problem, but will put a comment that this is terribly inefficient, but it works. We'll see. I have a feeling that it will work, but let's see. So we will generate all the substrings. For that, we're going to need an index, so I will use the for loop. So from 0 to the input length, we can go one less. It's okay. Doesn't matter because substring is quite a resilient function, which means that the part will be a substring starting from index and going all the way to input dot length. So it will take from the index until the end. The last one will just be an empty string, but this is terribly inefficient anyway, so making it a little bit less terrible is not a big thing. Now, for that part, I don't want that. I don't want to see if the part maps. I want to see if the part starts with something. And for that, I will need to use a for in loop. I don't really need this, but I will need for every key in the map. Well, we need to see if the part, yes, this is what I need. If the part starts with the key, then we return the map of the key. And that's all it is. So we might get lucky. If the map is large, this will take a lot of time. This is nested force. It's never a great thing. And this returns number or undefined. So I will just put in a -1 here just to have that. Or I will even do something better. I will return negative infinity. Because we will be adding this out, and if I get something that is very, very negative in the answer, that means that this line executed. In principle, this line should never execute on the input we have. Now let's see, I think that Copilot should be able to help me get last digit. Yes. And it should be able to invert this. Let's see if it inverted it correctly. So we're going from the input's length all the way down to 0. We are doing a substring from the start up to the index. So first we take the whole string, then one less, one less, one less. So we're chopping off the last character. And instead of starts with, we're using a very nice function that's called ends with. And if it ends with that, then we're doing. So map first last now will be something different. This will also take up a map parameter. And what we will do for each line of the input, we're gonna say the first one isn't that, but the first one is get first digit of the line and the map, and the last is get last digit of the line and the map. Yeah, I included get from HTTP. We don't need that. And so basically we don't even need this. We can just say return the first and the last since they are already numbers. And this expands second argument, which will be a map. Well, this is totally incorrect, but it's a good start. So for 1, we return 1, for 2, for 3, for 4. Don't forget, we don't have zeros. 3, 4, and let's 5. It got off the deep end. So we're gonna need 6 to be 6. And this is 7, this is 8, this is 9. So this is the map. It's kind of trivial since it maps to a digit to the same digit. And then this part works. So I will comment out so this just compiles. I will comment out the first part so we can just run the first part. Npm start 1. This will run just the first part. And on this input, the total processing time is 10 milliseconds. We can get it to less, but it feels good. 55, 6 to 1. So our code is correct for the first part. And now for the second part. This is the good thing. I will just take this and send it to GitHub Heaven. And now I will just increase the map. It says if you find 1, then it's 1. And yes, Copilot will help me with this. Now it's chugging along. As you can see, I don't use Copilot to do my thinking for me, but I use Copilot to do my grunt work for me. And then everything else is the same. Just map the first and the last, only with a different map. And the moment of truth. Let's see if this gives me something else. It was 54,000, I think, something, the wrong answer. And now it's even less, but is undoubtedly a different answer. So this is doing something differently. Whether it's doing something correctly, we will yet to see. Yes, we managed to solve the first day, so now we have, yay, 2 gold stars. Well, not great, not terrible, but we did manage to solve it using actually the same approach for the first one and the second one. And what all of the internet did, I think even Uncle Bob tweeted about this, doesn't matter what you think about his political views, he is still a good developer. Uh, he also tweeted that he fell into the same hole. Basically, what happened is that part one tricked us into certain patterns of thinking, and then in part two, I tried to modify the input so that the solution for part one will fix it. And it's just not the same input because we have those 1/8 issues. And I'm not able to find them. Most of the cases will be totally okay, except that it will show an error only on some of them. So I will return this comment here, and I think that we have a nice solution now that we can be somewhat content with. If somebody knows an idea how to speed this up, how to optimize it, please do. But for now, the timing seems quite okay. 58 milliseconds, 14 milliseconds. So until next time, we will be solving the second task. Bye.